Hey. It's Nora. Sleepy Bull. Come settle in. Tonight I want to talk about freedom. Specifically, the kind of freedom that sounds really good on a podcast but starts to feel a lot less good when you're sitting in an emergency room at 2 in the morning, wondering if you can afford the bill. Because that's the thing about the gig economy. It offers you freedom. But it takes something in return. And most people don't realize what they gave up until they need it. Right now, nearly 12 million Americans list gig work as their primary source of income. That's 7.4% of the entire labor force. Uber drivers, DoorDash couriers, freelance designers, Instacart shoppers, contract programmers, Etsy sellers. 12 million people who wake up every morning without health insurance from an employer. Without paid sick days. Without a retirement plan. Without unemployment protection. If they get hurt, they pay. If they get sick, they pay. If work dries up, there's no safety net. No one catches them. And yet somehow, we call this the future of work. I've been sitting with that contradiction for a while now, and tonight I want to walk through it with you. Let me start with the thing nobody talks about at the sign-up screen. When you create a DoorDash account or sign up to drive for Uber, the pitch is appealing. Be your own boss. Set your own hours. Work when you want, where you want. And for some people, that's genuinely great. If you're a college student picking up shifts between classes, or a parent who needs flexibility around school drop-offs, gig work can be a lifeline. I don't want to dismiss that. But here's what the sign-up screen doesn't mention: you are classified as an independent contractor. Not an employee. And that one word, contractor, changes everything. Because employees get benefits. Contractors don't. Employees have minimum wage protections. Contractors don't. Employees can file for unemployment if they lose their job. Contractors can't. That classification isn't an accident. It's a business model. And it saves these companies billions of dollars a year in benefits they don't have to provide. Now let me put a number on what that actually costs the workers. The average gig worker earns about 58% less per hour than a traditional employee doing comparable work. 58%. Let that land for a second. That means for every dollar a regular employee makes, a gig worker doing the same kind of work takes home 42 cents. And that is after you account for the self-employment tax they have to pay, the health insurance they have to buy themselves, the vehicle maintenance, the gas, the phone data plan. All of those are costs that a regular employer would either cover or subsidize. But when you are a contractor, that is all on you. Every penny. I met a woman once, this was a few years ago at a financial literacy workshop, who drove for a rideshare company full-time. She showed me her numbers and I remember feeling my stomach drop. Her gross earnings looked decent. Around $45,000 a year. But after expenses, gas, insurance, car payments, self-employment tax, her own health insurance premium, she was taking home about $22,000. Less than minimum wage, when you divided it by the hours she actually worked. And she was one of the dedicated ones. She drove 50 hours a week. She did not take vacations. She barely took days off. And she was still poor. Working 50 hours a week and still poor. That is not a gig. That is a trap with a friendly sign on the door. The health insurance situation is particularly brutal. Let me walk you through it because I think this is the part that makes the whole system feel broken. Before 2026, there were enhanced subsidies under the Affordable Care Act that made marketplace health insurance somewhat affordable for lower-income workers. Those subsidies had been extended several times. People relied on them. Then they expired at the end of 2025. Gone. Just like that. So now, a gig worker earning $35,000 a year is looking at health insurance premiums of $400 to $600 a month. That is $5,000 to $7,000 a year. For a plan with a deductible so high that you are essentially paying out of pocket for everything except a catastrophe. You are paying thousands of dollars a year for the privilege of still paying full price at the doctor. It is like buying a gym membership where you also have to pay every time you use the treadmill. And 66% of gig workers in a recent survey said they do not have access to the benefits they need. 2/3. That means roughly 8 million people in the gig economy are working every day knowing that one serious illness, one bad car accident, one unexpected trip to the emergency room could bankrupt them. Not inconvenience them. Not set them back. Bankrupt them. Wipe out everything they have. There's a study from Pennsylvania that really stuck with me. In 2024, the state ran a pilot program with DoorDash. They gave gig workers access to portable benefits, basically a small amount of money per delivery that went into a benefits fund the worker could use for health insurance, dental, whatever they needed. 4,000 workers enrolled. And the results were striking. 77% said they felt more financially secure. 91% said they'd feel even more secure if the program were permanent. 91%. Think about what that tells you. These are people who are working hard, earning money, contributing to the economy. And all they needed to feel secure was the most basic safety net. Not a luxury. Just the knowledge that a trip to the dentist wouldn't wreck their budget. The program ended after 12 months. It was a pilot. And now those 4,000 workers are back to having nothing. I want to zoom out here because I think there's something worth examining about the language we use. We call it the gig economy. Gig. Like a musician playing a show. Something fun, something voluntary, something you do because you love it. But for 12 million people, it's not a gig. It's a job. It's their primary income. The word gig makes it sound like a choice. And for some, it is. But for many, it's the only option available. They got laid off and couldn't find full-time work. Or they have a disability that makes traditional employment difficult. Or they're caring for a family member and need hours that no employer would offer. Calling it a gig economy is like calling a studio apartment a minimalist lifestyle. Sometimes it's a choice. Sometimes it's all you can afford. Now here's where I have to be honest about something that complicates the narrative. Not every gig worker is struggling. Some freelance developers earn 6 figures. Some Etsy sellers have built genuine businesses. Some Uber drivers in busy markets do reasonably well. The gig economy isn't uniformly terrible. It's unevenly terrible. The people who do best tend to have skills that are in high demand, existing savings to fall back on, or a partner whose job provides health insurance. In other words, the gig economy works best for people who already have a safety net from somewhere else. For everyone else, and that's the majority, it's a high-wire act with no net below. And that's really the core problem. The system works for some precisely because it can exploit others. The flexibility that benefits one person comes at the cost of security for another. So what's being done about it? Honestly, not enough. Some states are experimenting with portable benefits that follow the worker, not the employer. California tried to reclassify gig workers as employees with Proposition 22, which the companies spent $200 million to defeat. $200 million. That tells you how valuable the contractor classification is to them. In Europe, some countries have created a middle category, not quite employee, not quite contractor, with some basic protections. The US hasn't gotten there yet. And at the federal level, the conversation keeps getting stuck in the same loop, Companies say classification as employees would kill flexibility, workers say they need protections, and nothing changes. Meanwhile, 12 million people go to work tomorrow without a safety net. Again. I've been doing these episodes for a while now, and I've noticed a pattern. We talked about AI taking over industries, about oil prices and grocery bills, about housing nobody can afford, about credit card debt, about tariffs, about shrinkflation. And every single one of these stories has the same quiet undercurrent: ordinary people absorbing costs that used to be distributed more evenly. The gig economy is maybe the purest version of that. A company makes billions. The worker makes barely enough. The difference isn't profit. It's benefits. It's security. It's the things that let you sleep at night without doing math in your head. And I don't think you need to be an economist to see that something about that equation is off. My uncle drove a taxi for 31 years in New York. Had a pension. Had health insurance. Retired with enough to be comfortable. Last Thanksgiving, he asked me to explain how Uber works. And when I told him that the drivers don't get benefits, don't get retirement, don't even get guaranteed minimum wage, he just went quiet. Then he said something I haven't forgotten. He said, "We fought so hard for those things. And they just gave them away." He wasn't angry at the drivers. He was angry at the idea that progress could go backward. That protections his generation fought for could just be redesigned out of existence. I think about that a lot. Tonight I'm going to leave you with something different. No wrap-up. No lesson. Just a question. If 12 million people are doing the work, delivering the food, driving the cars, building the websites, and they can't afford to get sick, whose freedom are we actually talking about? That's sleepy bull. You don't have to answer it tonight. Just let it sit. Good night.